The Demiurge and the Hidden God. Chapter 1. Introduction. What is this book about? Welcome to this small book designed to guide you through the fascinating concept of the Demiurge, a term that has intrigued thinkers, theologians, and scholars for centuries. At its core, the Demiurge is a primal creator figure responsible for the formation of the physical universe. This book aims to unravel the complexity surrounding this mysterious figure, providing you with a clear and concise understanding of what the Demiurge is, how the concept has evolved, and its significance in various religious and philosophical systems. As ancient Greek philosopher Socrates said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." The quote by Socrates captures the essence of why a book like this matters. Understanding concepts like the Demiurge enriches our worldview, offering us new perspectives on the nature of existence, creation, and perhaps even the meaning of life. Who should read this book? This book is intended for anyone curious about metaphysical concepts, the origins of the universe, or the overlapping realms of philosophy and spirituality. You do not need any prior knowledge of these topics to understand the contents of this book. Whether you're a student, a spiritual seeker, or just someone interested in expanding your intellectual horizons, this book aims to offer something of value to you. As Lewis Carroll famously penned in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, "Begin at the beginning," the king said gravely, "and go on till you come to the end, then stop." Before we go further, let's explore what an archetype is and the importance of symbolism in the human psyche. An archetype is like a universal pattern or model that exists in what's called the collective unconscious, a sort of shared mental and emotional warehouse where common human experiences and memories are stored. This collective unconscious is not something we are directly aware of. Rather, it influences our thoughts and behaviors. Archetypes are templates that appear in stories, dreams, and myths across different cultures and times, representing familiar characters or scenarios that we all recognize instinctively, such as the hero, the wise old man, or the nurturing mother. Symbolism, on the other hand, involves using symbols, objects, figures, or colors to represent deeper ideas or qualities. For example, a dove often symbolizes peace, and a dark forest might represent the unknown or fear. Symbolism helps us connect with complex concepts on an emotional and intuitive level, enriching our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. By using archetypes and symbols, writers tap into a shared human experience, creating stories that resonate deeply and evoke a powerful emotional response. These tools help weave narratives that feel both timeless and deeply personal, inviting readers to reflect on their own inner worlds and the mysteries beyond. This introductory chapter serves to prepare you for the journey ahead. We'll start with the basics, defining what the term Demiurge means, and gradually delve deeper into its historical roots, its place in various philosophical discourses, and its significance in modern-day thought. We will also address controversies and debates surrounding the Demiurge, and by the end of this book, equip you with enough understanding to embark on your own exploration of this concept. Now, let's begin this enlightening journey. Chapter 2. Defining Demiurge. Basic definition. The word demiurge comes from the Greek term demiurgos, which translates to worker or artisan. In its most basic sense, the demiurge is understood as a created deity or force responsible for crafting the material world. But, as you'll soon discover, the concept isn't as straightforward as it seems at first glance. As stated in the Apocryphon of John, the Archon Demiurge said to his subjects, "I am God, and there is no other God beside me." This Gnostic quote sheds light on the complexity of the Demiurge's character. While seen as a creator in Gnostic traditions, the Demiurge also comes across as a being that claims divinity for itself, diverting souls from recognizing the higher true divinity. Origin of the term. The term Demiurge has its roots in ancient Greek philosophy, notably in the works of Plato. However, it's essential to recognize that the concept predates Plato and has been a part of human cosmological theories across various cultures and epochs. Its name and nature may vary, but the core idea remains. There exists a being or force that has crafted the physical reality we inhabit. As Galileo Galilei astutely observed, names and attributes must be accommodated to the essence of things, and not the essence to the names, since things come first and names afterwards. Galileo's quote reminds us that while the term Demiurge is particular to specific philosophical and religious traditions, the underlying concept of a creator is nearly universal. This also suggests that our exploration should not be restricted merely to the nomenclature, but should extend to the essence it aims to capture. Multifaceted interpretations. As we will see in the coming chapters, the Demiurge is not universally understood or described in the same way across different traditions. In some, it's a benevolent architect working to manifest a divine blueprint. In others, it's a somewhat flawed or even malevolent being who traps souls in the material world. As Oscar Wilde succinctly put it, to define is to limit. Wilde's words caution us as we delve deeper into defining the Demiurge. While it is crucial to offer clear definitions, we must remain aware that such definitions are often not all-encompassing. Our understanding will evolve as we journey through the various philosophical and spiritual landscapes that have engaged with this enigmatic concept. In summary, the term Demiurge can be thought of as an artisan or creator responsible for the material universe. It originates from ancient philosophical discussions, but has been adapted and reinterpreted across various religious and philosophical systems. Despite the various ways it is portrayed, the Demiurge remains a compelling concept for understanding the origins and organization of the world around us. As we proceed, we will explore these multiple facets in greater detail, always remembering that our definitions, while useful, may not fully encapsulate the complexity of what the Demiurge has represented through the ages. Now that you have a basic understanding of what the Demiurge is, let's delve into its historical origins and how different philosophies and religions have conceptualized it. Chapter 3. Historical Overview. Ancient Greece. Ancient Greek philosophy is like the granddaddy of all Western thought. It laid the foundations for many ideas that we still talk about today, such as justice, beauty, and even the nature of existence. One of the big-name philosophers from ancient Greece is Plato, and he came up with a very intriguing concept, the Demiurge. Plato was an ancient Greek philosopher who lived around 400 BC. He wrote a lot of dialogues, which are kind of like play scripts, where characters discuss big ideas. One of these dialogues is called Timaeus, and it's here that he first talks about the Demiurge. In Timaeus, Plato describes the Demiurge as a divine craftsman. Imagine a master artist or a skilled carpenter, but for the whole universe. According to Plato, this Demiurge took a look at the world when it was all chaotic and messy. He then used his divine crafting skills to organize this chaos into the world as we know it. Plato suggests that the Demiurge uses a kind of heavenly blueprint to create the world. This blueprint is what Plato calls the world of forms. Basically, it's a realm of perfect, unchanging ideas or forms that the Demiurge uses as a guide for making the physical world. Let's say you want to build the perfect chair. You'd have an idea of what that perfect chair should look like, right? In Plato's thinking, that perfect chair idea exists in the world of forms, and the Demiurge would use that ideal form as a model to create actual physical chairs in our world. As the ancient Greek philosopher Plato observed, reality is created by the mind. We can change our reality by changing our mind. Although this quote isn't directly about the Demiurge, it helps us understand Plato's point. The Demiurge shapes the reality of the physical world based on ideal forms, much like how our minds can shape our own realities based on our ideas, beliefs, and perspective. Gnosticism. Gnosticism is a collection of religious ideas and systems that originated in the early Christian era. It's not a single organized religion, but rather a term that encompasses various beliefs that share some common themes. One such theme is a distinct view of the Demiurge, different from what Plato described. In Gnostic texts, the Demiurge is often portrayed as an entity that is less than benevolent and sometimes downright malevolent. This is a big contrast to Plato's more positive, craftsman-like Demiurge. In Gnosticism, the Demiurge is often seen as a being who creates the physical world to trap human souls and keep them away from their true divine nature. According to Gnostic belief, the Demiurge thinks it is the ultimate God and wants to keep human souls entrapped in the material world, ignorant of their true divine nature. It's like a cosmic con artist trying to divert us from realizing our true potential and spiritual heritage. As recounted in the Apocryphon of John, the Archon, or Demiurge proclaimed, "I am God, and there is no other God beside me." This quote illustrates the Demiurge's arrogance and misunderstanding of its place in the cosmic order. It believes itself to be the ultimate God when in Gnostic belief, it is actually an inferior deity far removed from the true source of divinity. As stated by Jesus Christ in the Gospel of Luke, "The kingdom of God is within you." Though not a Gnostic text, this quote from the Gospel of Luke encapsulates a core Gnostic belief. The true divine source is within each of us, and it is not the Demiurge who creates the physical world. The material world, according to Gnosticism, is a distraction or even a trap that keeps us from recognizing and accessing our inner divinity. By understanding both the Platonic and Gnostic views, you can see how the concept of the Demiurge has evolved and taken on different shades of meaning over time. While Plato saw it as a divine craftsman doing its best to create a good world, Gnostic texts often view it as a being that entraps and deceives. The Gnostic Demiurge serves as a warning, a cosmic red flag, signaling us to look inward for the divine rather than getting lost in the material world. Neoplatonism. Neoplatonism is a philosophical system that emerged several centuries after Plato, building upon and extending his ideas. It was developed primarily by philosophers like Plotinus, who aimed to synthesize various strands of philosophy into a cohesive worldview. Plotinus was an ancient philosopher who lived in the 3rd century AD. He is the main figure associated with Neoplatonism, and he brought some new ideas to the table regarding the Demiurge. In Neoplatonic thought, the Demiurge is seen as an emanation from the One. Think of the One as the ultimate source of everything, so pure and so perfect that it's beyond our comprehension. An emanation is like a natural outflow from the source, similar to how light emanates from the sun. The Demiurge, in this view, is not an independent or separate being, but rather a necessary aspect of the cosmic order. It serves as a link, connecting the ultimate unity of the One to the multiplicity and diversity of the material world. In Neoplatonism, the universe is like a multi-layered cake. At the top you have the One, which is pure and perfect. As you go down the layers, things get more complex and less perfect. The Demiurge is essential because it acts as a mediator, translating the perfection of the One into the imperfect material world we experience every day. As the ancient philosopher Plotinus declared, "All is one, one is all." This quote encapsulates the essence of Neoplatonic thought. It tells us that everything is connected in a grand, unified whole. Even the Demiurge, which may be seen as a separate entity in other philosophies or religious traditions, is part of this unity in Neoplatonism. It's not an independent craftsman or a malevolent deceiver, but a natural part of the cosmic process that connects the one to our material reality. In summary, the concept of the Demiurge has a varied and complex history, changing dramatically depending on the philosophical or religious context, from the benevolent craftsman in Plato's vision to the misguided or malevolent creator in Gnostic texts, and finally as an integral part of the cosmic order in Neoplatonism. The Demiurge serves as a focal point for various ideas about the origins and structure of the universe. As we proceed, we will dive deeper into these varying interpretations and how they have shaped our understanding of reality. Chapter 4. Philosophical Context. Plato's Timaeus. In Plato's philosophy, the Demiurge is not a god to be worshipped in the way that traditional gods in polytheistic or monotheistic religions are. Instead, it's considered a metaphysical principle, which means it's an essential part of the framework that explains how the universe or reality functions. The term eternal craftsman is used to indicate that the Demiurge is an everlasting principle that is always active in shaping and maintaining the physical world. Unlike gods in mythologies who might rest after creating the world, this craftsman is eternally active, constantly working to maintain the balance and order of the cosmos. In Plato's philosophy, there exists a realm of forms or ideas, which are the perfect, unchanging archetypes of all things in the physical world. For instance, the form of a circle is the concept of a perfect circle that exists only in the realm of forms, and all circles in the physical world are approximations of this perfect circle. The Demiurge looks to these perfect forms when creating or shaping the material world. The quote from Plato, "Truth is the beginning of every good thing, both to gods and men, and he who would be blessed and happy should be from the first a partaker of truth," underscores the Demiurge's mission to replicate the ultimate truth found in the realm of forms. This ultimate truth is the perfection or ideal state of being that the forms represent. By attempting to replicate these forms in the material world, the Demiurge is essentially trying to bring this ultimate truth into the realm of the physical. It's worth noting that the Demiurge works within the constraints of the physical world. This means that while the Demiurge aims to replicate the perfection of the forms, it can't make the physical world entirely perfect. The material world is inherently flawed and limited, so it can never be a perfect replica of the realm of forms. By understanding these components, the passage argues that in Plato's philosophical system, the Demiurge is a principle of order and goodness. It serves to connect the perfect, unchanging world of forms with the imperfect, constantly changing material world, continually striving to make the latter as close to the former as possible. The role of Demiurge in the creation of the universe. In philosophical discourse, the Demiurge often serves as a middle ground entity between the realm of unchanging truths and the ever-fluctuating material world. It acts as a bridge or intermediary, crafting the universe with both design and purpose. As Peter Drucker said, "The best way to predict your future is to create it." This sentiment serves as a powerful reminder that we are not merely passive participants in our own lives. Instead, we have the ability to actively shape our future through the decisions we make and the actions we take today. Although Drucker's quote is aimed at personal development and not directly related to the Demiurge, the sentiment still holds value. It elegantly captures the role of the Demiurge in the philosophical context, as a being whose function is not just to predict or foresee, but to create, to bring forth the future, or in this case the material world, based on a higher design or blueprint. Is the Demiurge good or evil? The morality of the Demiurge is a topic of much debate in philosophical circles. In Platonic and Neoplatonic thought, The Demiurge is inherently good, or at least neutral, striving to mirror the perfection of the forms. However, in Gnostic texts, the Demiurge often appears as ignorant or even malevolent, unaware of any higher reality beyond the physical world it has created. As William Shakespeare insightfully noted in Hamlet, "There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so." Shakespeare's classic line can offer a fresh perspective on the moral ambiguity surrounding the Demiurge. The interpretation of the Demiurge's nature, whether it's good, evil, or something in between, often lies in the worldview of the interpreter rather than any intrinsic qualities of the Demiurge itself. In this chapter, we've delved deep into the philosophical roots of the Demiurge, exploring its origins and roles from Plato's dialogues to Neoplatonist thought. We've seen how the Demiurge serves as a key principle that strives to bridge the ideal and the material worlds, working within the constraints of the latter to manifest the perfection of the former. This philosophical framework not only sheds light on the complex nature of existence, but also sets the stage for understanding how these abstract concepts are represented in symbolic forms. As we transition to the next chapter, we will examine the various symbols that have been associated with the Demiurge across different cultures and religious traditions. This will offer another layer of depth to our understanding, providing visual and symbolic dimensions to this complex entity. Chapter 5. Symbols of the Demiurge. The language of symbols. Symbols are more than mere decorations or simple illustrations. They are, as Swiss psychologist Carl Jung said, the best possible expression of a thought that can never be completely elucidated. This profound statement acknowledges that symbols serve as a language, one that can convey complex and often abstract ideas that may be too nuanced or vast for words alone. In the case of the Demiurge, this entity is not just an abstract concept confined to philosophical discourses and religious texts. Rather, it has been vividly portrayed through a myriad of symbols, each attempting to encapsulate its diverse nature and functions. But why are symbols so important? Humans have an innate tendency to understand the world through the use of symbolism. Symbols help shape our understanding of the complex, often abstract, realities that words alone can't fully capture. From religious icons to national flags, symbols have power to evoke deep emotions, tell intricate stories, and even shape societies. Jung went further to suggest that symbols are deeply ingrained in the human psyche and that they serve as conduits connecting our conscious minds to the unconscious minds, to the unconscious. Now let's try to explain the conscious and unconscious mind in simple words and explore how symbols affect both. The conscious mind is like the part of your mind that's in charge when you're awake and aware. It handles your day-to-day thoughts, decisions, and actions. You can think of it as the captain of a ship, steering your thoughts and being aware of what's happening around you. The unconscious mind, on the other hand, is like the vast ocean beneath the ship, hidden from view. It contains all the feelings, thoughts, and memories that are outside of your conscious awareness. It's powerful and vast, influencing you in ways you might not be directly aware of, like your instincts, habits, and reactions. Symbols come into play as a bridge between these two parts of your mind. They can communicate complex ideas from the unconscious to the conscious mind. For instance, a snake might just seem like a snake in a dream, but it could symbolize danger, knowledge, or transformation, depending on the context. This is because symbols speak the language of the unconscious mind, tapping into deeper meanings and emotions. By understanding and interpreting these symbols, we can gain insight into what our unconscious mind is trying to tell us, affecting how we think, feel, and behave in our conscious life. Symbols have the power to trigger reflections, reveal hidden feelings, and even motivate change by connecting the depths of our unconscious with our everyday conscious thoughts. So, what are the symbols that represent the Demiurge, and what do they tell us about this complex and multifaceted entity? In this chapter, we will explore these visual and symbolic dimensions, diving deep into the portrayals that have emerged across different cultures and religious doctrines. By understanding these symbols, we can add another layer to our comprehension of the Demiurge and its impact on human thought and spirituality. Classical representations. In ancient art and literature, the Demiurge is often portrayed as a craftsman with tools in hand, busy with the act of creation. This reflects the Demiurge's role as described in Plato's Timaeus, where the entity is tasked with shaping the material world. As the Roman poet Horace eloquently put it, a picture is a poem without words. The imagery of a craftsman serves as a poem that encapsulates the Demiurge's essence, presenting a vivid picture of its creative and formative power. Gnostic interpretations. In the realm of Gnostic thought, the Demiurge is often portrayed in a less than flattering light, a far cry from the benevolent craftsman of Platonic ideology. One of the most striking symbols associated with the Gnostic Demiurge is the lion-headed serpent, a complex figure replete with layers of meaning. As Philip K. Dick aptly noted, the symbols of the divine show up in our world initially at the trash stratum. In Gnostic art and literature, the lion-headed serpent often appears with additional celestial symbols, the sun situated behind its head, and occasionally the moon and stars surrounding it. Each component contributes to the narrative that Gnosticism paints about the Demiurge. The lion-headed serpent is a fusion of two creatures generally considered opposites in nature. The lion, often associated with nobility and courage, and the serpent, commonly linked to wisdom but also deceit. This duality encapsulates the Gnostic view of the Demiurge as a complex figure that is both creator and obstructor, one that both enlightens and deceives. The sun behind the serpent's head represents illumination and the power that the Demiurge wields over the material realm. Yet in Gnostic thought, this light is often considered a false or lesser light, a pale imitation of the true divine illumination. The moon and stars accompanying the figure further enhance its complexity. In many spiritual traditions, the moon symbolizes the subconscious or hidden aspects, while stars often signify potential or individuality. In the context of the Gnostic Demiurge, these celestial bodies serve to highlight the scope and complexity of the created world, as well as the illusion or Maya that the Demiurge perpetuates. Taken together, these symbols offer a rich meaning, aiming to capture the multifaceted and often paradoxical nature of the Demiurge as understood in Gnostic traditions. Each symbol serves as a kind of spiritual shorthand, conveying complex ideas about the Demiurge's role as both a creator and a force that keeps souls entangled in the material realm. Jungian archetypes. In Carl Jung's psychological framework, an archetype is a universal symbol or motif that recurs across different cultures and throughout history. These archetypes are not learned, but are instead a part of the collective unconscious, a term that Jung used to describe the part of the unconscious mind that is shared by a society, a people, or all humankind. Archetypes embody fundamental human experiences, serving as basic building blocks of the psyche and contributing to how individuals understand and navigate the world. Let's explore a little what the collective unconscious and archetype are and how they relate to each other. The collective unconscious is a concept developed by psychologist Carl Jung, referring to a part of the unconscious mind that is shared among all humans. It's like a psychological foundation containing all the experiences and knowledge we inherit from our ancestors. This includes fears, dreams, and instincts that aren't learned but are innate. Archetypes are the building blocks or main components of the collective unconscious. They are universal, archaic symbols and images that derive from the collective unconscious and are the psychic counterpart of instinct. For example, the mother archetype represents nurturing and protection across cultures, even though the specifics of how these qualities are represented can vary. In simple terms, archetypes are to the collective unconscious what organs are to the body. They are essential components that make up the whole system. They shape how we see the world, influence our behaviors, and affect the roles we take on in our societies. By tapping into these archetypes, we connect with the deeper aspects of the human experience, bridging individual and collective human experiences. As Jung articulated, the archetype is a tendency to form such representations of a motif, representations that can vary a great deal in detail without losing their basic pattern. The collective unconscious, according to Jung, is a layer of the unconscious mind that is inherited and shared among all humans. It is not shaped by personal experiences. Rather, it contains universal experiences and ideas that are common to all human beings, regardless of their cultural background. The collective unconscious holds these universal symbols or archetypes, which surface in art, dreams, and religion. As Jung observed, the collective unconscious consists of the sum of the instincts and their correlates, the archetypes. Just as everybody possesses instincts, so he also possesses a stock of archetypal images. Jung saw the Demiurge as a manifestation of what he termed the self-archetype, representing the organizing principle and the fountainhead of all other archetypes. The Demiurge, in Jung's perspective, is both an inner and an outer principle. Internally, it stands for the dynamic force that brings cohesion and unity to the individual psyche. Externally, it symbolizes the pattern or structure that imposes order on the external world. Jung's idea of the Demiurge is rooted in dualities: creation and destruction, consciousness and unconsciousness, and individuality and collectivity. He did not see the Demiurge as a solely benevolent or malevolent figure, but as a complex, multifaceted archetype with a wide array of potential meanings. As Jung articulated, the self is not only the center, but also the whole circumference, which embraces both conscious and unconscious. It is the center of this totality, just as the ego is the center of consciousness. In a simplified manner, Jung saw the Demiurge as a sort of universal symbol that exists in the back of everyone's mind, a part of what he called the collective unconscious. Imagine the collective unconscious as a vast library of symbols and ideas that every person is born with, even if they don't know it. These symbols are like templates for understanding the world around us, and they show up in our dreams, stories, and religions. Jung thought the Demiurge was one such symbol, a stand-in for the idea of creation and organization. It's not necessarily good or bad. Instead, it represents the creative and sometimes chaotic forces that are at work both in the world and within ourselves. So when you read about the Demiurge in ancient myths or modern stories, you're actually tapping into a symbol that has deep roots in the human mind, a symbol that can help you explore big questions about how the world is organized and what your place in it might be. By understanding the Demiurge as an archetype within the collective unconscious, Jung elevates the concept beyond a mere historical or religious idea. Instead, it becomes a living symbol, deeply embedded in the psyche of every individual, reflecting universal tensions between order and chaos, between the finite and the infinite. By exploring Jung's comprehensive insights, we can better appreciate the multidimensional nature of the Demiurge, recognizing its role not just in religious and philosophical traditions, but also in the deepest corners of the human psyche. In this chapter, we have traversed the landscape of symbols to explore the Demiurge's multifaceted nature. From ancient portrayals to Jungian archetypes, each form and symbol adds a layer of complexity and nuance to our understanding of this enigmatic figure. As we've seen, Symbols serve as the language that bridges the gap between the conscious and the unconscious, the individual and the collective, the human and the divine. These symbolic portrayals set the stage for our next inquiry, where we will delve into the scriptural accounts and religious texts that further shape and define the concept of the Demiurge. It is here that we'll see how age-old traditions have incorporated this figure into their cosmologies, offering yet another lens through which to examine its impact and relevance. At the end of this chapter, I would like to focus your attention on a few points which might not directly connect with the root subject of this book, but are very important to put into your conscious thought. Just stop for a moment and think about how capitalism, big companies, and politicians use these symbols and archetypes to turn the tide in their favor. I am not saying what is good or bad. That is all beyond duality, at least for me anyway. But I would like my readers to think about this, and instead of being used by these forces, try to take actions consciously rather than being swayed by someone else's will. Always remember, action based on love and compassion is the highest form of act. Now, let's go to the next chapter. Chapter 6. Demiurge in religious texts. Demiurge in Gnostic texts. In Gnostic traditions, the Demiurge often takes on a less flattering role compared to its Platonic counterpart. Here, the Demiurge is not the ultimate god, but rather a lesser deity responsible for creating the physical material world. The Gnostic Demiurge is generally seen as ignorant or even malevolent, blinding souls to their true divine nature. As stated in the Gospel of Thomas, "Know what is in front of your face, and what is hidden from you will be disclosed to you." This quote from the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas encapsulates the Gnostic approach to the Demiurge. According to Gnostic texts, understanding the nature of the Demiurge leads to greater spiritual insights and frees one from the illusions of the material world, contrasting Yahweh and a Gnostic Demiurge. In exploring the character of the Demiurge, it's vital to understand its contrasting portrayals in different religious traditions. One of the most interesting comparisons is with Yahweh, the God of the Old Testament. Carl Jung, a renowned psychologist, has some thought-provoking insights on this subject. Jung observed that Yahweh seemed to define himself through his creations, almost as if he needed them to confirm his own existence. He wasn't fully aware of himself in the way a human being with self-reflective capabilities might be. In simpler terms, imagine a painter so engrossed in his paintings that he forgets he is more than just the act of painting. This lack of self-awareness makes Yahweh act in ways that appear contradictory or confusing to humans. According to Jung, this doesn't mean that Yahweh is bad or imperfect, like the Gnostic view of the Demiurge as a malevolent creator. Yahweh is, instead, a complex being who embodies all qualities, both good and bad. He is the totality of everything, which means he can be both completely just and its total opposite. The idea is that Yahweh, unlike the Gnostic Demiurge, isn't limited to just one aspect of morality or creation. He's a more complex figure, embodying multiple traits and characteristics that may sometimes appear contradictory to us. While we should bear in mind that these are interpretations shaped by human thought, they offer us unique windows into understanding the complex and multifaceted nature of divine entities like the Demiurge and Yahweh. In summary, the complex nature of divine entities like Yahweh and the Demiurge demands a nuanced approach to understanding them. While the Gnostic Demiurge is often portrayed as a limited, even malevolent being, Yahweh presents a different picture, a being of multifaceted qualities, both just and unjust, aware and unaware. Jung's insights remind us that these deities can be seen as reflections of our own inner complexities and potentialities, not just as external figures, They embody contradictions that challenge our conventional understanding of morality, self-awareness, and divinity. Thus, the Demiurge and Yahweh serve as intriguing mirrors for exploring the intricate threads of both the divine and human psyche. Similarities and differences in Eastern religions. Though the term Demiurge originates from Western traditions, one can identify analogous ideas within Eastern religious philosophies, particularly in Hinduism. In Hindu cosmology, Brahma is the god responsible for the act of creation. However, Brahma is not the ultimate reality. That designation belongs to Brahman, the unchanging, infinite, immanent, and transcendent reality amidst and beyond the world. To better understand, consider Brahma as a craftsman and Brahman as the ultimate essence or the metaphysical clay from which the craftsman molds the world. While Brahma spins the web of the visible world, he is still an aspect of the overarching Brahman, the ultimate reality. In this way, Brahma serves a function similar to the Demiurge, as he too brings the physical world into existence, but is not regarded as a supreme power. The Bhagavad Gita, a 700-verse Hindu scripture, offers an insightful perspective on creation that aligns closely with this conversation. As the Bhagavad Gita proclaims, "Creation is only the projection into form of that which already exists." This quote speaks volumes about Eastern attitudes towards the concept of creation. Like the Demiurge, Brahma doesn't create the world from nothing. He shapes it from an already existing higher reality, which is Brahman. This aligns well with the Platonic or Neoplatonic notion of the Demiurge fashioning the world as a reflection of pre-existing ideal forms, or as an emanation from the One. The concept of a creating entity similar to the Demiurge can vary significantly based on the religious or philosophical tradition one examines. In the Gnostic tradition, the Demiurge is often seen as a malevolent or ignorant entity that separates human souls from their divine source. In contrast, Hindu philosophy presents a more benign creator in Brahma, who nevertheless is not the ultimate source of divine truth. In summary, while the term Demiurge may not appear explicitly in Eastern religions, the idea it encapsulates finds resonance in philosophies like Hinduism. Across varying religious landscapes, this enigmatic entity serves as a compelling model for exploring how different cultures and spiritualities navigate the profound questions of creation, divinity, and ultimate reality. I would also like to clarify that I am not promoting any religion as superior to another. Each person's spiritual journey is deeply personal. It is important to note that even within Hinduism, many adherents may not engage with the religion's teachings as originally intended, getting caught up in the symbolism which was meant to aid in understanding transcendence. The ultimate reality, not for mere worship, but to grasp the indescribable, absolute reality. I am not here to judge anyone, as each person's path is unique. Sooner or later, we all will find our place where consciousness leads us in this grand orchestration, the play of existence. As we conclude this chapter, it becomes evident that the concept of the Demiurge, while rooted in Platonic philosophy, has found a multitude of expressions across different religious and philosophical systems. From the Gnostic portrayal of a malevolent jailer to the multifaceted, morally complex characterization in the Judeo-Christian tradition, and even to its analogous counterparts in Eastern philosophies, like Hinduism, the Demiurge serves as a universal symbol for the tension between the ideal and the material, the ultimate and the immediate. This exploration reveals the inherent human curiosity about the origins of existence, the nature of the divine, and our own role within the cosmic landscape. The Demiurge, in its various incarnations, invites us to question, ponder, and possibly reconfigure our understanding of these primal concerns. Each tradition we've examined adds a unique lens, widening our collective perspective on a concept that defies simple categorization. Whether viewed as a creator, a guardian, a trickster, or a psychological archetype, the Demiurge remains an endlessly intriguing figure that challenges us to think more deeply about the world we inhabit and the unseen realms that may lie beyond it. By surveying the many religious texts that discuss or allude to the Demiurge, we've taken a comprehensive look at this elusive concept. Yet the journey is far from over, as each new generation revisits these ancient ideas, adding their own interpretations and insights. This evolving dialogue ensures that the Demiurge will continue to be a subject of intrigue and debate, captivating the minds of seekers for generations to come. As we reflect on the diverse interpretations of the Demiurge across various traditions, exploring its manifestations from malevolent creator to misunderstood deity, let us also consider a deeper, more universal contemplation of the divine that transcends even these ancient texts and teachings, inviting us to ponder the infinite and ineffable nature of God. The concept of God, in its myriad interpretations, has long been a cornerstone of human contemplation and spirituality. From the tangible, emotive descriptions of a personal God to the abstract, boundless depictions of an impersonal God. And even beyond these categorizations, the divine remains an enigma, deeply personal, and yet universally sought. The famous theologian Paul Tillich once said, "God does not exist. He is being itself beyond essence and existence." This quote encapsulates the ineffable nature of the divine, suggesting that our attempts to define or understand God through conventional means or language might always fall short. Similarly, the ancient Hindu scriptures expound on the idea of neti netis, not this, not that, reminding seekers that any conceptualization of the divine is but a mere approximation. However, it is in this very exploration, a dance between knowing and unknowing, that many find profound spiritual growth. As Rumi, the celebrated Sufi poet, beautifully expressed, "Silence is the language of God. All else is poor translation." Our narratives, whether of a personal or impersonal God, are attempts to translate this cosmic silence into something comprehensible, something relatable. But perhaps the true essence of God, as many mystics and philosophers suggest, lies in the journey itself, in the continuous quest for understanding, in the moments of doubt, in the epiphanies, and in the silent meditation. It's a journey that celebrates not just the destination, but the path, the questions, the challenges, and the insights. As St. Augustine wisely observed, "If you comprehend it, it is not God." Thus, while we navigate the vast expanse of spiritual thought, it is vital to remain open, humble, and curious, recognizing that the divine in its infinite wisdom might always remain a beautiful mystery, forever inviting, forever elusive. It's only one. There's only one. It's all one. You can delve into physics down to the quantum of energy and reach a point where it's all one stuff. There's only one of it. One goes into many, and many of us busy thinking we are separate. After awakening, many start appreciating they are part of one, and they all come back into the one. And then, the interesting point is that the one includes the many. You are without form, without limit. You are beyond space, beyond time. You are in everything. Everything is in you. Everything is in you. Everywhere you are. That part of you I am, and that part of me you are, is the same. There's only one. Have compassion and love for yourself and others, as there's only one, and we are all going through this. Take life, death, pain, suffering as it is, and see it all as unfolding the laws. The law forms, but who you are has no form, no limit. All forms are within law. Who you are is free, but who you think you are is within the law. Your container is the lawful container, including your thinking mind. Everything you think is lawful, but everything that you are is beyond law. Take life as it is and love it as it is. Chapter 7. The Great Reveal. The Mirror of God. Jung posited that man is the mirror which God holds up to himself, or the sense organ with which he apprehends his being. This profound statement opens up a realm of inquiry into how humans interact with the divine, both as reflections and as sensory instruments. If we consider ourselves the mirror in which God sees his reflection, it implies that our existence serves as a means for the divine to understand itself. In this regard, we become co-creators of the universe and are endowed with a purpose that far transcends mere existence. We become instrumental in the ongoing narrative of cosmic self-awareness. Similarly, being the sense organ of the divine suggests that human consciousness, with its complexities and potentials, serves a higher purpose. We're not passive spectators, but active participants in a grand cosmic drama, our lives contributing to the divine understanding of existence and morality. This makes the human experience not merely a byproduct of the Demiurge's creation, but a critical component. So-called progress, as Jung describes it, leads simultaneously to a spiritual inflation and to an unconsciousness of God. Our technological and intellectual advancements might inflate our sense of importance, but they also distance us from the humility of recognizing our role as mere censors in the divine scheme. In Jung's view, human beings are not just passive creations of the Demiurge. We play an essential role in the divine plan when we make progress. Especially in technology and knowledge, we sometimes start to feel overly important. This spiritual inflation can make us forget that we are, essentially, the sense organs through which the divine understands itself. In other words, our advancements may make us proud, but they can also make us forget our true role in the grand scheme of things, inflating the human spirit. Jung warned of the duality inherent in human progress, stating that it leads simultaneously to a spiritual inflation and to an unconsciousness of God. Genitivus accusativus. On one hand, the marvels of technology, science, and human achievement have endowed us with an ever-expanding range of abilities that would have seemed miraculous just a few generations ago. Whether it's exploring outer space, modifying our genetic code, or creating complex virtual realities, our capacity to manipulate our environment and ourselves has grown exponentially. However, this progress also carries with it a perilous form of spiritual inflation. As we become more proficient masters of the material world, it's easy to forget the divine spark that, according to various philosophical and spiritual traditions, ignited the flame of human intelligence and creativity in the first place. In this sense, we become victims of our own success, allowing our technological and intellectual achievements to cloud our understanding of our relationship with the divine. Jung's use of the term genitivus accusativus implies a grammatical relationship that is both possessive and accusative. This suggests that as we progress, we not only possess our achievements, but are also accused by them, in the sense that they make us forget our foundational relationship with the divine, and thus render us unconscious of God. In our quest for progress, we may confuse the tools and processes that we've created with the underlying realities they were designed to manipulate or understand. And herein lies the danger. When we mistake the map for the territory, we run the risk of thinking we are the creators, rather than the created, further obscuring our understanding of the Demiurge and our role within the grand scheme of existence. The Demiurge within. In a letter, Jung explored the intricate relationship between humanity and the divine, writing, "Man confuses himself with God, is identical with the Demiurge and begins to usurp cosmic powers of destruction, that is, to arrange a second deluge. In the ancient world, the concept of the Demiurge represented an intermediary between the human and the divine. As a lesser deity responsible for shaping the material world, the Demiurge was viewed as something separate from humankind. However, in our modern era, advancements in technology and philosophy have blurred this distinction. We live in an age where the boundaries of human capability are continuously expanding. Whether it's mastering genetics, manipulating the weather, or inventing new forms of artificial intelligence, we're increasingly taking on roles once ascribed to gods or the divine. But what happens when we start to believe that we are not just mimicking the creative or destructive powers traditionally assigned to deities, but that we are those deities? Jung suggests a dark potential for self-deception here by claiming God, like powers, whether through technological advancements or ideological constructs. We risk identifying so fully with the Demiurge that we lose sight of our limitations. When this happens, we begin to usurp cosmic powers of destruction, convinced that we're qualified to make sweeping changes to the natural order. Jung evokes the image of a second deluge, a catastrophic flood like the one described in ancient scriptures, to underline the dangers of this arrogance. The consequences of confusing ourselves with God or the Demiurge are not merely philosophical musings. They could have tangible, disastrous implications. It's not just that we risk losing our ethical or spiritual bearings. We risk unleashing forces that we neither fully understand nor control, all while laboring under the illusion that we do. To better understand these dynamics, it's crucial to explore the interplay between our expanding capabilities and our philosophical or spiritual understanding of what those capabilities mean. As we continue to push the boundaries of what is possible, we must also push the boundaries of our understanding, striving always to maintain a balanced view of our place in the grand cosmic scheme. Cosmic powers. Jung, in his letters, warned of the dangers when man begins to usurp cosmic powers of destruction, that is, to arrange a second deluge. This ominous caution is more than a metaphor. It's a direct confrontation with the perilous capabilities that we've accrued in the modern age. Advancements in fields like nuclear physics, biotechnology, and artificial intelligence have vested humanity with capabilities that were once the exclusive domain of mythological gods or natural forces. We have the technological means to significantly alter or even destroy life on a planetary scale, mimicking the mythical second deluge that Jung refers to. While these advancements signify monumental achievements in human intelligence and creativity, they also embody an immense potential for destruction. The mastery over cosmic forces carries not just the promise of improving life, but also the threat of annihilating it. Our newfound powers have outpaced our ethical and philosophical frameworks, leaving us susceptible to recklessness or misuse of these technologies. The demiurge within isn't just a philosophical or metaphorical idea. It is a very real potential that could either elevate us to unprecedented heights or precipitate our downfall. Jung's warning thus serves as a sobering reminder that with great power comes not just great responsibility, but also great peril. As we advance further into an era of unparalleled technological capability, it is incumbent upon us to exercise an equally advanced ethical discretion. In essence, it's not enough to possess the powers of a god. We must also cultivate the wisdom to wield them judiciously. Therefore, navigating this potential for destruction requires a deep understanding of both our capabilities and our limitations, in the pursuit of a more balanced, sustainable interaction with the world. A double-edged sword. Jung emphasized the incredible existential risk that accompanies the concept of God becoming man. This transformation isn't just theological. It directly affects human psychology and society. Jung noted that the danger of God becoming man also threatens humanity, with the notion of becoming God, which can usher in a sense of cosmic hubris. When humans blur the lines between the divine and the mortal, as evidenced by our advancements in technology, morality, and understanding of the universe, we encounter a paradox. On one hand, the closer we get to becoming God, the greater our potential for creative, positive transformation. On the other hand, this same potential enables us to wield cosmic powers of destruction, leading us to a path that could end in devastation. Jung viewed this as a psychological and spiritual tightrope. The concept of becoming godlike is tantalizing but perilous. When imbued with a divine-like ability to create and destroy, humans have to manage the tension between these opposing forces carefully. The mistake lies in believing that we have tamed the chaos that comes with such power, thinking we've become masters of the universe rather than co-creators or stewards. What further complicates the matter is our limited understanding of the Mysteria Dei, or the mysteries of God. If we were to truly comprehend the profound nature of divine powers, would we still be as eager or as reckless in wielding them? Or would a deeper understanding of these cosmic responsibilities humble us into more cautious action? In summary, the danger of God becoming man is indeed a double-edged sword. It both empowers and endangers us. It is a cautionary tale of what could happen when we overestimate our abilities and underestimate the complexities of divine or cosmic responsibilities. We are at a crossroads where our next steps must be taken with an acute awareness of this profound, dualistic potential. The theological balancing act. Jung's observation on the Catholic and Protestant approaches to faith adds another layer to our understanding of humanity's relationship with the divine. The Catholic Church, according to Jung, manages to balance belief and action through faith and ritual. This equilibrium serves as a safeguard against the dangers of spiritual inflation, where humans might mistakenly equate themselves with God. In Protestantism, the emphasis is mainly on sola fide, or faith alone. This focus, while spiritually enriching, might leave individuals more susceptible to the psychological pitfalls of identifying too closely with the divine. Jung's contention here is that the act of faith itself can be both empowering and precarious. Jung delved into the nuanced interplay between faith and ritual in one of his letters, stating, "Sometimes, semel crededice is sufficient for him since he has the ritual graces," highlighting how a one-time act of faith may be enough when it's tempered by ritualistic practices. The concept of ritual graces brings us to an interesting point. Rituals act as both a manifestation and a grounding of faith. They help contain and channel the spiritual energies and enthusiasms evoked by faith. In doing so, rituals can serve as a psychological and spiritual safety net, providing a structured way for individuals to interact with the divine without losing their grounding in the earthly realm. Therefore, in the intricate dance between human and divine, faith and ritual serve as counterbalances. Faith propels us towards the divine, filling us with spiritual vigor and existential purpose. Rituals, on the other hand, tether us to earthly realities and responsibilities, reminding us that while we may strive for God-like wisdom and abilities, we are not gods ourselves. Thus, a balanced theological approach could act as a safety measure against the risks identified in the previous sections. That of humanity confusing itself with the divine and consequently wielding potentially destructive cosmic powers. Given these insights, it becomes evident that a balanced theological approach is not just a theoretical ideal, but a practical necessity. By harmonizing faith and ritual, one can not only deepen their spiritual experience, but also protect themselves from the hubris of over-identifying with the divine. This equilibrium, then, serves as a mechanism that allows humans to explore the depth of their spirituality while remaining grounded in their human limitations. In a world where spiritual quests often lead to extreme ideologies and practices, the wisdom of balancing faith with ritual offers a tempered path that respects both the celestial and the terrestrial aspects of our existence. Contemplating the Mysteria Dei. Jung urges us to learn to understand the Mysteria Dei better, emphasizing the importance of deepening our comprehension of divine mysteries. The term Mysteria Dei refers to the incomprehensible aspects of God or the divine. By advocating for a better understanding of these mysteries, Jung is essentially calling for a more profound awareness of the complexities involved in the human-divine relationship. Why is understanding these mysteries so crucial? The danger lies in our tendency to simplify what is inherently complex, and in doing so, create skewed representations of both man and God, possibly identifying one as the other. Such simplifications can lead us toward the dangerous path of over-identification with the divine, potentially resulting in destructive behavior. If we don't comprehend the inherent complexities of the divine, we run the risk of making assumptions that oversimplify and limit our understanding of our place in the cosmos. This misunderstanding can, in turn, lead to the unconsciousness of God, a state in which we, filled with our own sense of inflated importance, forget the divine aspects and complexities that are beyond human grasp. Understanding the Mysteria Dei calls for humility. It's a call to accept the limitations of human knowledge and capability while striving for a more profound understanding. This involves a careful balance between embracing our potential to reflect divine attributes and maintaining a humble acceptance of our inherent limitations. In contemplating the mysteries of the divine, we create a protective barrier against the intoxicating and dangerous idea of ourselves as demiurges, thereby ensuring a healthier relationship with the realm of the divine. Navigating the thin line between human and divine. Navigating the delicate balance between our human limitations and divine potentialities is no simple task. As we've explored throughout this chapter, there's a seductive allure to elevating ourselves to the status of the demiurge, particularly in an age of rapid technological and intellectual advancements. We stand on the precipice, armed with unprecedented powers of creation and destruction, all the while grappling with our limited understanding of divine complexities. The Mysteria Dei. Jung warns us of the dangers of confusing man with God and of the intoxicating effects of spiritual inflation. The task, then, is one of equilibrium, acknowledging our divine-like capabilities while remaining aware of our limitations. This requires a nuanced understanding of faith and ritual, as well as a cautious approach to interpreting religious and philosophical ideas about the demiurge and divine creation. The stakes are high. The implications of mistaking ourselves for the divine could unleash chaotic forces we neither comprehend nor control. Therefore, a careful, conscious understanding of our own capabilities and limitations is not just advisable, but essential. In essence, we must strive for a respectful relationship with the divine, a relationship rooted in both awe and understanding. This is the safest way to navigate the perilous journey on the tightrope stretched between the human and the divine, ensuring that we neither fall into the abyss of destructive God-like pretensions, nor lose sight of our remarkable human potential. Navigating the human-divine continuum. As we come to the close of this exploration into the complex and nuanced concept of the demiurge, and particularly our consideration of humans as potential demiurges themselves, it's essential to ground our insights in everyday action. While philosophical and theological inquiries provide us with a framework for understanding, they must ultimately translate into practical steps if they are to make a difference in the real world. In this section, we outline actionable solutions that allow us to better navigate the delicate balance between our human limitations and our demiurgic potential. By incorporating these strategies into our lives, we can engage more mindfully with our own abilities to create and destroy, thus honoring the divine complexity within us. 1. Self-awareness and reflection. One of the central themes of this chapter is the demiurgic potential within humanity. That is, our capacity to be creators and destroyers. Self-awareness is critical in tempering this potential. Practice mindfulness and self-reflection to become more conscious of your actions and their broader implications. 2. Ethical mindfulness. Given the demiurgic potential in all of us, ethical mindfulness is crucial. Before making significant decisions, consider their moral and ethical dimensions. Ask yourself, am I acting out of a sense of egoic inflation, or am I genuinely contributing to the greater good? 3. Balance faith. As discussed in the subsection on faith and ritual, the theological balancing act, striking a balance between belief and action, is crucial. Whether you follow a religious path or a secular one, find a structured way to check your spiritual or ethical growth. This can be through rituals, moral codes, or ethical philosophies that serve as a counterbalance to unbridled ego. 4. Community engagement. Isolation can lead to an inflated sense of self, feeding the demiurge within. Engaging with a community allows you to gain perspectives other than your own, providing a kind of reality check which can be both grounding and humbling. 5. Environmental responsibility. Given our cosmic powers of destruction, it's essential to be responsible stewards of the earth. Adopt sustainable practices in your daily life and advocate for policies that protect our planet. Our ability to create or destroy isn't just metaphysical. It has very tangible consequences for the earth. 6. Education. Invest in education that focuses not just on knowledge, but also on emotional intelligence and ethical reasoning. An education system that addresses these aspects can better equip future generations to handle the power that comes with human progress responsibly. 7. Promote dialogue. The subsection on contemplating the Mysteria Dei emphasized the need for understanding. Foster dialogue between different religious, spiritual, and secular groups. It's only through understanding each other's perspectives that we can arrive at a balanced view of our place in the cosmos. Being aware of our demiurgic potential is the first step in using it wisely. By applying these practical solutions, we can strive to walk the delicate line between human and divine, fulfilling our creative potential while remaining grounded in ethical and communal responsibility. By being cautious stewards of our immense potential, we not only respect the divine aspects within us, but also ensure that they are channeled constructively for the benefit of all. In conclusion, I would like to emphasize the importance of releasing the need to have all the answers. We don't and can't know everything. The most profound approach we can take is to allow the life force to flow through us, letting the universe carry out its work while actively participating as co-creators. Much like the Demiurge, who shapes form from formlessness, we too sculpt our reality through our thoughts, bringing ideas from the realm of the intangible into the material world. This dynamic process invites us to not just be passive observers, but engaged creators, molding our existence with conscious intention. Ultimately, we will find ourselves exactly where we started, precisely where we are meant to be. So relax, breathe deeply, and take comfort in knowing that you are safe within the vast expanse of the cosmos, actively contributing to its unfolding. Epilogue. The human journey through the lens of the Demiurge. As we conclude our exploration of the Demiurge, it is imperative to bring our attention back to the very beings entangled in this cosmic narrative, us, human beings. Jung, whose insights have informed much of this book, left us with profound thoughts that resonate deeply when contemplating our role in this intricate web of creation and perception. Jung made an insightful observation about the varying responsibilities of self-focus at different stages of life. He stated, "For a young person, it is almost a sin, or at least a danger, to be too preoccupied with himself. But for the aging person, it is a duty and a necessity to devote serious attention to himself. The journey with the Demiurge invites us to reflect on the inner and outer worlds we inhabit. It beckons us to give serious attention to our place within the grand scheme, especially as we age and grow in wisdom. As we move forward in our lives, the questions surrounding the Demiurge are not just intellectual curiosities, but have real implications for our spiritual well-being. In discussing the psychological and spiritual needs of individuals, particularly those in the latter stages of life, Jung made an eye-opening statement. He observed, "I have treated many hundreds of patients. Among those in the second half of life, that is to say, over 35, there has not been one whose problem in the last resort was not that of finding a religious outlook on life. The notion of the Demiurge can offer a lens through which to explore this religious outlook, understanding our complexities and contradictions as reflective of something much greater than ourselves. Finally, Jung gives us reason to appreciate the full arc of human life. As a final thought, Jung offers a compelling perspective on the value and significance of aging, emphasizing that the latter years of human life are not to be seen as mere continuations of youth, but should be appreciated for their own unique meaning. As Jung said, a human being would certainly not grow to be 70 or 80 years old if this longevity had no meaning for the species. The afternoon of human life must also have a significance of its own, and cannot be merely a pitiful appendage to life's morning. The idea of the Demiurge and the dialogues it provokes serve not just as philosophical musings, but as guiding lights that can illuminate the afternoon of human life, allowing us to see it as an invaluable part of a greater cosmic drama. By engaging with the concept of the Demiurge, we embark on a journey that enriches our understanding, not only of the world around us, but also the inner landscape of our souls. It is a journey that can add depth and dimension to every stage of human life, from the exuberance of youth to the reflective quietude of age. As we draw this book to a close, I leave you a poignant quote from the Bhagavad Gita. "Free from all thoughts of I and mine, man finds absolute peace." This timeless wisdom invites us to transcend our egos, to release the attachments that bind us, and to embrace a state of peace that is both profound and liberating. In this journey, let love and compassion be your guiding stars. These virtues not only enrich our own lives, but also illuminate the paths of others around us. As we navigate the complexities of existence, let us remember that at the core of all spiritual seeking is the pursuit of a deeper, more connected experience of love and compassion toward ourselves, toward others, and toward the universe itself. May you carry the insights and inspirations from these pages into your daily life, and may you find joy in the continual unfolding of your own spiritual path. Thank you for sharing this journey with me. Be at peace, and remember, you are always held safely within the boundless love of the cosmos.